Ask and ye shall receive. After years of futuristic combat boosting, jetpacking, and exosuits, Call of Duty plants its boots on the ground and returns to the grounded, raw combat with one of history's greatest conflicts, World War II. And fans of the franchise, myself included, could not be happier in case that wasn't clear with the tone of my voice. If you think it's anything like its predecessors, then you are sorely mistaken, my friend. I'm Alpha Lance with the Leaderboard, and don't worry, we don't typically look back, but this time I've got your six, and we're taking a look back at Call of Duty then versus now. Developers and publishers. In 2002, Activision took a chance on a little-known video game development company called Infinity Ward, a studio composed of only 21 employees. Most of the team, including Infinity Ward founders Vince Zampella, Grant Collier, and Jason West, came from 2015 Inc., where they worked on the highly successful Medal of Honor Allied Assault, a game that was a major source of inspiration for the new Call of Duty classic game. The project was codenamed MOH Killer, MOH of course being direct reference to Medal of Honor. The designers aimed to make a game that didn't just duplicate the Medal of Honor series, but rather told a grounded story free of super soldiers and open to other perspectives within the conflict. An early version of the game featured an American James Bond-esque character who undertook a secret mission to stop the Nazis during World War II. However, this didn't last long as Infinity Ward decided to take an even more unique approach and tell the story from three different Allied perspectives: the American, the British, and the Soviets. Upon release of the game, Activision scooped up Infinity Ward entirely, and a franchise was born. Infinity Ward continued to make COD games, including Call of Duty 2, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Ghosts, and Infinite Warfare. While Infinity Ward dominates the COD series with the most games, Activision has enlisted quite a few developers to leave their mark on the franchise. Among these is Sledgehammer Games, who had previously worked on Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and now the newest installment, Call of Duty World War II. Sledgehammer Games became involved with Activision after they pitched a possible third-person shooter spin-off of the Call of Duty series, which resulted in Activision acquiring Sledgehammer as one of the subsidiaries. However, that project was canned when two of Infinity Ward's three founders left the company in the middle of development of Modern Warfare 3. Sledgehammer stepped in to aid Infinity Ward in finishing the game and thus became one of the franchise's key developers. In an interview with Metro, Sledgehammer Games co-founder Michael Condrey teased that he would love to make another World War II game under the COD series. With an overwhelmingly positive fan response, Condrey got his wish, and Sledgehammer Games took on World War II. As a fan of World War II entertainment, Condrey wanted to make sure that they made the game as historically accurate as possible, so he recruited historian Martin Morgan to aid in the story's development. They also personally traveled all across Europe to take pictures and drawings to be used as concepts for the game. Gameplay. The original Call of Duty changed the game, pun intended, for future first-person shooters of the millennia. Developers held true to the game's slogan, "In war, no one fights alone," by adding a greater emphasis on squad-based play rather than the lone wolf approach in many of its predecessors. Developers introduced new AI-controlled allies who support the player in combat and react to situations within the gameplay. AI-controlled soldiers on both sides would move behind walls, barricades, and other covers when facing suppressive fire on their own. They'd also act as guides for the player when navigating the map. Remember, when in doubt, just follow the troops. Each individual mission is contained within a comparably small map. The player is given a series of objectives visible on the heads-up display compass. Players must complete each objective before they move on to the next mission. Call of Duty also saw early use of iron sights, which obviously became a staple of the series. Iron sights, for those of you who are unsure, is the small bit of metal plastic in the middle of the gun's sights to improve accuracy, making the game more realistic and user-friendly than other FPS games of the time. Players are also able to carry two primary weapons and a handgun, as well as up to 10 frag grenades. Unlike future COD games, Call of Duty is the only installment to allow players to save and load at any time during the mission, as well as toggle between automatic and single-shot settings. Also integral to the success of the first COD was the shell shock element. After a nearby explosion, players momentarily experience intense, simulated audio-visual effects like tinnitus, muffled sounds, blurred vision, and slower reaction times. This gave players an unheard-of, authentic experience of war. Call of Duty World War II returns to traditional gameplay gameplay, but it's charged with 1,000 volts of awesomeness. With the capabilities of next-gen consoles, Sledgehammer Games was able to create a larger, more intricate setting that allowed players to take more control over the storyline and make it their own. Contrary to the original, World War II offers more covert missions as well, which rely not on combat ability, but the ability to be discreet and make the right move. In a mission entitled Enter the Wolf's Den, players infiltrate a German base disguised in Nazi regalia and must interact with German soldiers by saying and doing the right things to avoid arousing suspicion. The newest installment also features a hit the deck mechanic as opposed to the traditional slide movement, to allow players to leap forward and throw themselves on the ground in order to get to cover much quicker. Audio improvements to the game are a force to be reckoned with. Even the simple sound like a grenade teetering on the ground was recorded from scratch by Sledgehammer's audio team. The sound designers actually threw replica grenades on a variety of surfaces to find the right sound that let a player know to get the heck out of Dodge. Urgent cries from your allies, pinging ricochets of bullets right next to you, and chest-thumping sounds of artillery give players an engaging audio-visual experience that transplants them right into the thick of the action. Graphics. With the incredible advancements of the next-gen consoles, it's obvious that World War II is a stunning visual experience. And I mean an experience. Not just something you watch, not just a movie, something you enjoy, an experience. But let's not forget that the classic game was groundbreaking for its time. It might not look like it now, but imagine that this is 14 years ago. At the time, this was breathtaking. Despite dated animation and a lack of brightness options, Infinity Ward hit players with exhilarating car chases, a glider crash behind enemy lines, and realistic weather elements. It's easy to see why the classic game blew critics away. With the release of the World War II beta, testers had some concerns with the overall quality of the visuals, despite next-gen capabilities. Reviewers claim that the visuals leave much to be desired, but developers did a great job making each level unique and different from one another. Visuals are described as brown and muddy, and while yes, this is World War II and not an embellished sci-fi era, gamers maintained that graphics could be a little less bland, with the exception of the Molotov cocktail, which really pops on the screen when executed. However, these reviews are not uncommon during the beta stage of development, and oftentimes there are advancements by the time the game is finally released in full. Despite some concerns, Sledgehammer has been praised on its subtlety throughout the game. Small details within the settings and Easter eggs keep the player engaged and add another element for returning players. For example, when you choose your preferred class in multiplayer, each option is accompanied by a vintage propaganda poster. Campaign/story. Call of Duty Classic has players take on the 24-mission campaign from 3 different perspectives, offering them a behind-the-scenes look at the events surrounding some of history's greatest battles all over Europe. As Private Martin with the US Army, Sergeant Evans with the British Royal Army, and Private Voronin with the Soviet Red Army, players hit basic training, capture and hold the Pegasus Bridge in France, and raise the red flag over the Reichstag in Berlin. Recognize these names? Of course you do, you hardcore Call of Duty fan you. Martin, Evans, and Voronin would all become staples within the series. The classic game also introduces us to Captain Price, a major character in the Modern Warfare series, who makes an appearance in both Evans and Martin's storylines. Call of Duty World War II takes a much more singular approach to the campaign story, while maintaining the franchise's "In war, no one fights alone" motto. The new story follows Ronald Red Daniels as he joins the U.S. Army 1st Infantry Unit, aka the Fighting First. As Daniels, players fight their way through the European theater from the beaches of Normandy to the liberation of Paris, and ultimately through the borders of Germany. Players enter the campaign with a powerful opening scene at Omaha Beach with an audio-visual experience that will rival that of Saving Private Ryan. And if you haven't seen that, well, I cannot suggest that highly enough. Senior creative director Brett Robbins said the game does not hide from even the worst parts of war. He said some very, very dark things happened during this conflict, and it felt wrong for us to ignore that. The game features elements of the Holocaust, something that is rarely represented in World War II video games, yet an integral part of world history. Multiplayer. Multiplayer is arguably what most fans of the franchise were most excited for. Call of Duty Classic was crucial to the development of future console-based online gaming. The multiplayer platform allowed people from all over the world to connect in one of 6 game modes to be played in any of the 16 map options. The original multiplayer modes included Behind Enemy Lines, Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, Retrieval, Search and Destroy, and Headquarters. Players could create their own weapons class by ranking up and unlocking new guns and accessories. The Call of Duty multiplayer platform has come a long way since its beginning, but Call of Duty World War II takes the franchise's online gaming to the next level. The game features 10 brand new enormous maps for more elaborate gameplay and larger teams, and 9 game modes, including Team Deathmatch, Domination, Free-for-All, Gridiron, Search and Destroy, Hardpoint, Capture the Flag, Kill Confirmed. World War II also introduces a new narrative-driven co-op mode simply named War, where one team attempts to complete a variety of objectives while the other defends. It features 4 game modes to start: Operation Aachen, Operation Breakout, Operation Griffin, and Operation Neptune, that offer an all-new Axis vs. Allies experience in cooperative team play. Players can rank up in a much more evolved way as they enlist in a division and work through the ranks within their unit. The platform also features a brand new social element within the online platform called Headquarters, where players can interact with each other, complete objectives, as well as unlock weapons, perks, and accessories for gameplay. This adds an entirely new way to progress through the ranks, customize characters, and create weapon classes. Zombies. While Zombies was not a part of Call of Duty Classic, it has become a staple within the series, and World War II is no exception. Sledgehammer Games is responsible for the epic Dead Space series, so naturally they had to take a stab at Nazi Zombies. Nazi Zombies follows a unique storyline that sets it apart from versions that have come before it. Players embark on a mission through a dark and snowy village in Germany in an effort to recover priceless works of art from the Nazis, but they face heavy resistance from the army of the dead. Sledgehammer Games co-founder Glenn Schofield calls it the Third Reich's desperate attempt to create an army in the final stages of war. Because I don't know about you, but I really want to shoot some zombies after the latest season of The Walking Dead, and I really want to punch some Nazis, so it's kind of a 2 birds with 1 stone situation, which I am not complaining about. That's it for now. Once again, I'm your host, Alpha Lance, and thanks for watching Call of Duty Then vs. Now. What are you most excited about in the newest installment? What features do you wish would come back? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to click the bell icon to become a part of the notification squad. And if you like getting more from your games, subscribe to the Leaderboard, your home for video game facts.